portion of the lesson and I taught the other half. Today, the students was introduced to some foundational information that they're going to have to know, and we had a character autopsy. And in the character autopsy, looks like this. Every part of the character in a story is significant. It means something. And so the definitions are on the back, which says that when a character thinks or is mentioning the head of the character, that's working with the intellectual side of the character. And we won't go through all the body parts because this is just the foundation that is being laid so that when they read and we need to know what is the character thinking, then we know that he's using the head part, the intellectual part. What's on here, the characters also have imaginary wings. Imaginary wings is to show the character's future and his hopes and where he's going. Feet represents mobility. So again, this is just a foundation. We have a scripture that we're going to recite that leads into our story and into the character autopsy, and we can say it together, or do you want to tell them what it is?
We can say it together.
Okay, we're going to say it together.
Amen.
So it's going to be 1 John, so 1 John, chapter 3, verse 1.
Verse 1.
See what great love
Your great love,
the Father has lavished on us,
the Father has lavished on us,
that we should be called
that we should be called
the children of God.
the children
One
of
more
God.
time. See what great things
See what great things
the Father has lavished on us,
the Father has lavished on us,
that we should be called
that we should be called
the children of God.
the children of God.
Because some of us don't deserve it. That wasn't in there.
Amen.
That was not in there. That's not part of the scripture. But God is just that good to us.
Amen.
And so, the topic of our lesson,
It was the topic was called the story was called The Real Prodigal.
the real prodigal. Okay, you stand here, but you can ask the questions.
Okay, and I'll just ask them like what was for you guys, what was the story about again? Go ahead.
The story was mainly about how if you like ask for something before you're supposed to get it, you could always return and apologize.
Okay. So who was the character in this? In this story? The younger what?
Brother.
Yeah, the younger brother. So what was his problem?
He wanted the money that he was supposed to inherit and his father died early.
Yeah, he was hoping Dad would die early, but it didn't happen. So he wanted his money. Sometimes we can't tell him, oh, this is in the will. Okay, so then what happened? Tasha, you had your hand up quite a bit. He went. He spent all his money. Sir, how did he spend all his money?
Parties and stuff.
He wasted it, right? Now, when they was on the other side, they were not shot. Now you're acting shot. So explain to me. This is the language you're going to hear, because they're not going to ask the who, what, where, when, why kind of question. They're going to say, explain how the younger son changed from the beginning of the story to the middle of the story. And if you don't know what happened at the beginning of the story and middle of the story, you can't answer the question. So, how was he at first, and then how did he change?
At the beginning, he was actually happy because he had his money, and then once he got broke, he went to a farm, and he had a guy, the farmer had worked for him. He had to clean out the pig's pen and feed the hogs and feed the pigs. But then he thought one day that he should go back to his dad and his family, and then he just took off running, and he went there, and then he just apologized to his dad.
Wow. That is awesome. Okay, the other three, other than cooling, what can you add, what detail can you add to the story to make it come alive for us? What does working in the hog pen symbolize? What does it mean to work in a hog pen?
That you're desperate for food.
You're desperate, yes. And what else?
Got food, you got food.
And you have to what? And you have to clean it? That means you gotta work. You gotta work for a living. He had it good when he was at home. But he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to leave, right? So did it have it so good? Then he changed. First he had it good, then he didn't have it good. And so what was his future looking like when he was working in the hog pen? What did his future look like? Horrible. Horrible. Could he ever make enough money to get out of that particular job?
No.
No. So he had to do what? To change his life around, to change his future around, he had to do what?
Go back home.
He went back home. He had to quit. He said, enough is enough. But how did he left proud? See, they're going to ask you, how did the character change? From the beginning of the story to the end of the story. So at the beginning of the story, how did he leave home? He was happy, and he was what? He was the man, wasn't he? He was the bump, because he had all his money, right? How did he return home?
Nope.
And was he still proud and spouting off at the mouth at his father? Talking about he can handle his money? How did he come home?
Broke.
Yeah, broke, but then, okay, go back to his emotions. All the emotions, is fear, joy, remorseful or regretful, thankfulness, all these are emotions. So he came back home, which one of those emotions? He left proud, and he come back. How about, what's humility? Humble. He came back humble. So did he say, I'm going to come back and I'm going to put on all my rich clothes? What? How did he go back? What did he?
Apologize.
But he said he was going to go back as a what? As a slave, as a servant. He came back real humble because then what did he say? How did he ask his father? Well, he didn't ask his father. How did he, when he returned home, how did he approach his dad? How did he approach his father? Because you said it earlier when we were over there. He was thinking of all of this that he was going to have to say to his dad, but did he have to? No. What did his dad do?
He gave out glucose.
Did he ask?
No.
No words necessary. So how does this relate to you and me and God? What do we do to God? The same. We do the same thing to God. And then when we turn around and come back, we don't even have to open our mouths. We're supposed to, but he's already there standing there waiting on us to come back. Thank you. Have a good day.